evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the October meeting of the Florence County School District 5 Board of Trustees. If you would, stand with me and do a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Goldman.
Yes.
Could you bless us with a little something, sir?
Yes, sir. If you will, let's pray. Father God, we just thank you that we can come together tonight. And God, we thank you for each person here, God, that loves and cares about Florence School District 5. And God, we just pray tonight that we would all work together to better Florence School District 5 for your glory and your honor. God, give us wisdom, give us knowledge, and give us understanding to make the decisions that need to be made for our students, for our teachers, for our parents, and our community. And we give you all the glory. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. In accordance with the South Carolina Code of Laws, 1976, Section 30-40-80E as amended, the following were notified of this meeting: Morning News, Post and Courier, WBTW, WMBF, WPDE TV, and posted on our school website, fsd5.org. We'll go to the approval of agenda. Things good? Mm-hmm. All right. Anybody for public forum tonight? All right, so we'll move right along to our consent agenda, the minutes from September meeting and our monthly financial statement. Any questions, concerns? Okay, if not, we will move right along to our regular agenda and we'll start with our superintendent's report.
Okay, first up we'll have academics.
Good evening, everyone. Hope you've had a good start to your Monday. Tonight, I just want to briefly give an update on Regulation 43-170 before I turn it over to our principals. I'm giving you a handout because it's quite small, probably on the reading. But just a reminder, Regulation 43-170 has established a clear, transparent, and uniform process that provides certainty for local educators, respects the legitimate prerogatives of parents, and protects students from materials that are not age or developmentally appropriate. This, of course, is our instructional materials review. You may have heard it called that before. And this new regulation establishes a consistent and uniform definition with a two-pronged threshold for local educators, boards, to determine if the materials available to students in our public schools are, one, age and developmentally appropriate, and two, educationally suitable and aligned with the purpose of South Carolina's instructional program. Some things I do want to highlight tonight is that if a parent or legal guardian of a student who attends a school within our district feels that there is something that does not fit that regulation and fall in line with that, help me out, Paul, because it ain't clicking, thank you, that they can file a complaint. And they can file a complaint that we have a section on our district website where they can go and explains the regulation to them. There is a form that is provided by the State Department of Education that we have on there, and then there's a button that they can email that to me once they have made a good faith effort to address their concern with the school. Once they file that petition and they send that to me, I'll review, I'll discuss with the school kind of what steps have been taken, and if there is a good faith effort that has been made for them to resolve it themselves and that conclusion has not come, then I will bring that complaint to you as a board. The next part that I want to talk about is kind of your role as the board, that within 90 days after we receive that complaint, that a quorum of the district board must conduct a public meeting to consider the complaint, and at that public meeting vote to grant or deny in whole or in part the relief requested by the complainant. And there's a couple different ways you can do that. I'm not going to go through all of those. But there's a couple different ways on how you can meet that, whether you send it to a committee first or whether you meet as a full board. But we do have to review that within 90 days, and then the board would make a decision, again, whether in part or in whole. Now, if the board agrees that this is a material that needs to be removed, the board shall remove it entirely or can discontinue the use of said materials for any grade level or age group which is inappropriate or unsuitable, and also could make it to where parents have to be given prior notice for requests to have their students participate. If for whatever reason the board decides that they are not going to uphold the complaint, the parent does have 30 days to file an appeal with the state board. So if you decide that the material is appropriate and they don't like that, there's another link on our website to where they can get the form to file that with the state board. Now, once a complaint is filed with the state board, whether it be with us or whether it be any other school district, the board will send out, here we go, the state board will send out information to us letting us know, because if there's already a book that is under complaint and under appeal with the state board and someone brings it to us, we don't have to act on it. We wait until the state board acts on it. Right now, there are currently 11 books that have been already challenged by a district. A district has made a decision and that has been appealed to the state board. So there are currently 11 books out there. Probably the three most famous ones that are currently under appeal right now is 1984, To Kill a Mockingbird, and Romeo and Juliet. So those are some of the books that are already under appeal by the state board. But I just wanted to remind you, I just wanted to let you know that we are meeting the state regulations, that we have posted what the state requires. We do have that information so parents can find those forms on our district website, and then there's a link that they can click. Also at the bottom, you will notice that we have a link to all of our library materials that a parent at any time can go on and can click on that link and have access to what books we currently have in our library. If a parent would request what books are in an actual teacher's classroom, we have let our administration know and our teachers know that they've got to, within a certain amount of time, be ready to give whatever books they're using in their classroom if they're not under our Destiny catalog. So any questions on that? I just wanted to bring some updates have happened there. I just wanted to make sure that everybody was just reminded of that regulation and kind of the steps. Right now, we have not had any complaints filed in our district, but it is something that potentially could happen. And if so, we'll kind of go through those steps as they come.
Do we have any of those 11 books in our district?
Yes, I'm sure we do. Yes, some of those are even in old textbooks. I don't know if they're in our new ones. I'll be honest with you. Like Romeo and Juliet is typically a play. They're in many textbooks already. And again, those are ones that while they're under review, they can still be there until there's an action made on them. Any other questions? All right. At this time, it is my honor to turn it over to our principals as they are going to give you some information about their school report cards. One thing I do want you to notice that this year in the state of South Carolina, there were 232 schools that were excellent, 317 that were good, and 477 that were average. And all of our schools were average to excellence. And you're going to hear more about that in just a few minutes. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Miss Lucinda Burrows, principal of Johnsonville Elementary School.
And Mr. Johnson's going to help me tonight because he helped earn our school. He would like to be a part of this. So he's going to start for us. Thank you.
Yep, there's your
All right, fresh topic, school report cards. It's been a hot thing over in my neck of the woods. So we scored a 45, which is considered average. We're below average in student progress. Our school climate is good, and our academic achievement is average. And I have a short time, so for those of you who do know me or have been around me, you know I can go much longer than that and elaborate. But I'm coming back to the number 45 here in just a second, okay? Just to go look, our number is the blue, the district number is yellow, and the state's average, the number is in green. So in reading and ELA, up top we scored 49.4%. whereas the district is 51-4, and then the state is 54-1. Mathematics were slightly better, 44% for our school. The district is 38.9, and then the state average is 42.8. So killing it with the numbers, need a little work with the words. But in the last 2 years, 2 years ago we scored 38, okay, on our report card. That's a 7-point jump from 2 years ago. We're not happy with that. We're not satisfied with it. We're not stopping there. And Ms. Burrows is going to go and move forward and tell you some of the ideas and plans that we have to improve those numbers.
How's my clicker? Oh, there it goes. How are we gonna make improvements? These are all things that we are currently doing in our school. Our learning progress is actually being tracked through iReady, and each child actually has an individual learning target, so they're working on their own levels. And this is used during their morning time and during their small group instructions. We have tutors for our ATSI designation that we have. Miss Margie is actually, well, she was in 3rd grade. She's hoping to go back when Miss Nanita comes back. But right now we have 3 different people who are playing that role. Miss Tanya Edie has come in to help. And then we have Miss Cabela doing a day, and we have Miss Gay Owens who's doing a day in 3rd grade. So we've kind of had to shift around since Miss Brown got hurt. But hopefully she'll be back after Thanksgiving, so we can put her back in her place. Miss Gay Owens is in 4th grade, and Miss Cabela is in our younger grades. And what they're doing, they're going into the classroom, and they're actually assisting with instruction. So when the teacher gives the lesson, then they go around and they help the ones who need extra support. So that way they can get those on grade level target skills, as well as the skills that they're going to get. If they're resource, they're getting the skills, lower skills from the resource teacher. So we're hoping to catch them up with those grade level skills as well. We had something really exciting happen this past 2 weeks ago. 3rd and 4th grade, we actually, well, Mr. Goins and Miss Clark, they actually got to go to Walker Gamble. And so Walker Gamble, if you know anything about them, their scores are really good. So we kind of set our 3rd and 4th grade schedule up to mimic that, which gives us a lot more time in our classroom for math and ELA. So for our math block, you have a direct instruction, and then you have a small group. And then you do the same for ELA. And during the small group time is when the teacher gets to pull children to her teacher table and work with those who need extra help. So we're hoping that structural change is going to make a difference in our 4th grade scores in their growth. Accelerator Reader is back, and that is something that we're using as a competitive thing to get our students to read. Progress Learning is in science, ELA, and math. And then STEM classes, we also have Miss Rhonda Daniel. The way it works, our special area teachers actually have a day off. So they're taking that day off. Miss Daniel has 1 day off a week. Her day's Monday. And what she does a STEM class that day. And that's called an innovation class. And then children come to her and she teaches lessons. And Miss Renee Greer's doing the same thing in our computer lab. So all of these are ways, oh, and this one's really exciting. Our PACE children got a change this week. They're getting more PACE. Our PACE is gifted and talented. And we've restructured that so that they're not with Miss Marsh, so Miss Marsh can actually use her time for her children. Our PACE children are now going to Miss Filial, and Miss Cassie Gaster is actually helping to cover her classes and do her rotations. So we kind of flipped around a little bit to accommodate everyone's needs, and we're really excited about that. Miss Ellen is also still our interventionist. She's working hard with our lower children to make sure their needs are met. Okay? Our climate was good, but we can always do better. So we're wanting more family nights, literacy night, parent-teacher conferences. Our parent-teacher conferences will be November 4th. They are set up to the parents' convenience. The teachers have all contacted the parents and said, okay, when do you want to come? So November 4th is our day, but they all look different. It depends on what everybody needed. Spectacular Sparks we're doing, where they have a character trait that we're building on, and then the teachers are choosing the best spark and then they're sent to the library for pictures. And we're hoping that's gonna build ownership of their learning and help them want to be better citizens. Guidance lessons, Miss Scott does those weekly. She's actually doing Red Ribbon Week this week. That's why we're in red. We didn't match just for y'all. Sorry. Good behavior incentives, that's something that's also gonna build our climate. And we have safety patrol now. And our safety patrol, that's our 4th graders. We have 4 or 5 of them in the mornings that assist in the building and help other children to figure out where they need to go. And it's just, I think that's really built an independence for them. All right, Mr. Johnson, you want to add anything to that? Because Special Spectacular Sparks is yours.
No, I mean, seems to be catching on. The kids really work for it. Our teachers are in their individual classrooms are explaining the actual trait or character trait that we're working towards. They're defining it on Monday. The kids are working on it to Thursday. They're getting their picture taken on Friday, and then the following week they are rewarded for their previous week's efforts. A lot of teachers have a special seat, a special hat, different responsibilities that they give the individual student of that week to go. And of course, they love having their picture taken and being posted on the social medias and websites. So.
All right, for science is going back to the report card this year. So we have to really get our science scores up. So some of the ways we hope to do that is through progress learning and through our innovation classes, our gizmos, just science time, building that time into their curriculum. With our new schedule for 3rd and 4th grade, they have time to do science activities and to do that hands-on learning. So we hope that all of these things will help. We don't like being average. Average is better than we were before, but we want to at least be good. We'd really love to be excellent. Thank you. Y'all have any questions for us? I had 8 minutes. That's all Mr. Goins could give. 8 and 10. That means you get 2 of mine.
Mr. Terrell agreed to do something for me, so he said he'd save me a minute on my part. He's so generous.
Sir, you want to
Well, the teachers and the students at Johnsonville Middle School, I cannot tell you how excited we have been for them to get the excellent on the school report card. That has been a big deal. They have been giving it their all for 2 years. So we are very excited about what they've accomplished. We are out of 350 middle schools, we're one of the 43 middle schools in the state to receive excellence. So I'm not bragging for me. I'm bragging for those teachers and those children because they truly deserve that. They have worked. It has really been a team approach. What I'm going to do is kind of like what Lucinda did up here. I'm going to break it down with academic achievement. We were average on that. If you'll look at your first handout that you got, I just put mine on a handout so we could look at it and you could see those numbers, especially since my eyes are not the greatest in the world. But academic achievement is looking at the percentage of children that meet and exceeds on the state test. So with ELA, we had 53.5%. We were right behind the state average, which was 54.1%. With mathematics, the school was 33.8%, and we were behind where the state was at 42.8. Y'all forgive me, I forgot my glasses on my desk, so I'm struggling to read some of that small print too still. So with that being said, we definitely would like to go from average. We're a little bit higher than we were last year with academic achievement, but of course we want to continue to strive. We would love to see those percentages come way up as well. On the other part of the state report card with the student progress is looking at growth. You know, what kind of growth did they make from being in, say, 5th grade going to 6th grade, 6th grade going to 7th grade. The overall percentage of progress points earned, we did get an excellent rating. We had a lot of student growth at our school, and I think Mr. Goins would probably agree with me, that was really our big part of how we got excellent on the school report card. And if you'll look on your second page of your handout, the overall percentage of progress points earned, the school had 61.6% of the progress points versus the state at 45%. So that's really good. If you look on the next page, even the children at the lowest 20% of lowest performing 20% of the students, the middle school had 61.4% of the students doing well versus whereas the state had 50.8%. So there again, we were way above the state average. We were also at 58.3 with the percentage of students meeting that median annual target. Those are those individual growth targets. We had 58.3 versus state average of 47.7%. And then when you look at the added value target, what they call AVTs, we were at 42.3 and the state was at 33.0. So all the way across the board, the student progress on the report card, you can tell that's where we occurred a lot of those points at, and that's how we got excellent on the student progress part of it. With school climate, we also got excellent. I did not give you a copy of that particular report, but basically all the way across the board with student climate, the overall perception of school climate, our school was at 7.82 and the state was at 6.90. Teacher perception of instructional focus, we had 9.16, and this was out of a total of 10 points versus the state at 7.77. Teacher perceptions of working conditions, we had 9.10, whereas the state had 7.53. Teacher perceptions of safety, Mr. Kennedy, we had 8.52, and the state was at 8.31. Attribute a lot of that to what's been going on with people feeling safe in our school, especially with those weapon detectors now. Student perceptions of the social and physical environment, we're at 5.31, the state was 4.15. And student perceptions of safety, we had 7 out of 10 and the state had 6.76. So we received, as you've heard, our ratings were higher than the state averages were, and we received excellent on the school climate as well. So what I'm going to do now that you kind of know where we were as far as our ratings were, I'll kind of break it down with academic achievement. I will tell you that for the last 2 years, our structure, school schedule was the same. Class periods have been the same for 2 years, so we are looking at a different structure this year. I'm praying and keeping my fingers crossed that we still have things in place that we can continue to make the gains that we've been making, but it is a different structure that we have. With that being said, this is a positive thing. We have class periods for reading and math that are 80 minutes versus that 55 to 60 minutes that we had before. So that increased time for reading and math classes is definitely a plus. We're also, across the district, we're doing those teacher pacing guides, having those teachers look at that, where they are, so that when we get to the end of the year, we're not panicking, oh my gosh, we still have this, and this to cover before state testing, to kind of keep them on track. Again, we're not going to let that hammer down. We're going to continue with that academic vocabulary, because I think that's really a big part of what's been going on in middle school too, is using that academic vocabulary in the classroom. Instructional tutors, whereas last year they each had an enrichment period. There was an instructional tutor for every grade level. This year with the new structure, they are doing the remediation for our MTSS. But when they are not doing MTSS, they're pushing into the classrooms, and they are helping those teachers remediate those skills that the students have weaknesses on. So they're kind of doing 2 jobs this year. iReady, individualized learning pathways, is real big at our school. That's what we've been doing for the last 2 years. We're trying to do more with setting those goals, letting those children know what those goals are that we expect for them to achieve. And we still are doing the incentives with the growth. We are actually doing something new this year, and I love it, and I think the kids are enjoying what we're doing. It's having weekly competitions with their iReady and the percentage that the grade level is mastering for passing the lessons. So in the beginning of the year, the 8th graders, they were beating everybody. And now, the last report I got, they've kind of bounced back and forth. 7th and 8th grade are very competitive, which I love at middle school because I kind of feel like those 7th and 8th graders don't always get into that iReady like those 5th and 6th graders do. So it was 7th and 8th grade steady at each other, and the little 5th graders were at the bottom. Well, guess who's on the top right now? The 5th graders are. So we have like a little poster. We put it outside their grade level so we can brag on them. So just trying some different strategies to keep them growing. And there again, I'm real big on parent communication, the teachers, keeping the parents informed and letting them know, what's expected as far as tests and the units and expectations for what's going on. Student progress, how are we gonna keep that growth going? Kind of still back to the same thing of letting those students know what their goals are, what they're trying to achieve. It's just like adults. We like to know what's expected of us on our jobs or whatever your job may be. And it's the same way with children. They need to know what our expectations are for them as well. Progress learning, I'm really excited about that. We know we have so many resources in our district, which is a great thing. But the progress learning, I have heard nothing but positive things from the teachers. And I'm actually going to talk a little bit more about that with science in a minute. But progress learning has test questions that are very similar to the state test. So teachers love that when they can actually use those questions, embed them into their assessments. You can use it for a quick check. There's lots of different ways and opportunities that they can use progress learning in the classroom. So I think that was definitely a plus right there with getting this to use this school year. Again, utilizing the data that we're getting from our diagnostics. I've talked to the teachers a lot about this at the beginning of the school year. When you give a chapter test, and that's based on standards, it's real important that you go over what those children are missing. Because if you don't, and you don't talk about it and have conversations or reteach it, and you move on to something else, they're not going to get it. So that's been a huge emphasis, again, this year, utilizing the data. Bubble students, that was something we started probably mid-year last year that made a difference, looking at that diagnostic data and seeing which kids are right there, maybe at the meets or maybe at the exceeds or below average to the next level. Because every little level we can help them bump to, that's where we get those points, those growth points coming in. And of course it affects achievement of them. So those are some of the things we are continuing to do at the middle school to earn those points with growth. How am I looking, Terrell? On time, you're keeping me straight. All right, school climate. So a part of school climate, I feel like, is communication. To me, communication is key. It's key for teachers. I do a newsletter every week. The district also puts out a newsletter every week for teachers. Students, every grade level has a newsletter. Every grade level has a Facebook page. All of that's very important, and varying the parents ties right in with that. Just everybody knowing what's going on in the school. As far as a voice in decision making, I think that's also important with school climate. I tried something new this year, and for those of you who may know me, I like to make sure all my boxes are checked. But when we got ready for diagnostic testing, because our schedule is very different this year, and it's like when you move one piece, it affects another piece. So I decided to take a leap of faith, and I offered them the opportunity to develop their class schedule for that day when we did diagnostic testing. And most grade levels jumped right on it, and they made it look easy peasy when they did it. But they had buy-in because they did it and they had a voice in it. So just trying to find little things like that they can have a voice in that decision making. Same thing comes with parents, that school improvement council, putting that nomination out there in the public for people to nominate people to serve on school improvement council. We do that. So I have 2 people on that council this year that were elected by the people in the community. And then, of course, you have some that are appointed. Administrators establishing good relationships with students, parents and teachers. To me, that's just critical. You know, having that listening ear. Everybody's not going to always agree, but just being able to hear the other side of the story and trying to work things out, I think is real important. I will tell you, Mr. Coleman, he helps me a lot with discipline. He has high expectations, but he assures those teachers if you will follow the protocol, he's got your back. He's going to take care of it. So there shouldn't be any teacher at the school that has to deal with discipline, because when it comes to a middle school, you know, discipline's a lot different with middle school kids versus younger kids. You got to have that discipline under control to make sure these children are learning, and he's been very supportive of teachers that follow the protocol. And then part of school climate is also letting that community be a part of what's going on in your school. I'm trying to do more of that this year, and I have a lot of great teachers at my school who have a lot of wonderful ideas. We just did that Flashes Run for Cancer, and that was awesome Saturday morning, watching that take place. That was a really good event. We've got another event coming up, and this was teachers' ideas doing I always get this wrong, so I had to write it down, the North Carolina Mountain Magic Christmas Yard Sale. And that's where we're raising money to help those families in North Carolina, try to help them have a better Christmas. So just different little things like that. To me, all of that is a part of school climate and making sure everybody's on board and being a team.
Yeah, she's getting involved too. Did y'all see her dressed up like fruit?
I saw that.
I was an apple. I definitely was. And when the boy got out in the car and he said, Miss Squires, I didn't even know that you had a pair of tennis shoes because you wear high heel shoes all the time. But anyway. All right, and so the last part, science. We do have the 6th grade science test, like Lucinda was saying, her kids had to take the science test as well. Progress learning, Emily is very, very complimentary about the progress learning. She said, Ms. Squires is so cool. She said the questions are very much like what you probably would see on the state test. She said there's different ways that she's using those questions from progress learning. So I was really excited to hear Emily excited about that and how she's incorporating all of that. She does use the 5E model, which is real big with what we're trying to do with the kids with hands-on science, that engage, explore, explain, elaborate, and evaluate that model. And basically what that does, it puts the responsibility for learning in the student's hand, which is that inquiry-based learning, which is what, in the end, is what we truly want when we're teaching kids science. Gizmos, Mr. Goins was able to get that for us again. Emily is real big on science academic vocabulary. That's going to be huge. And I will tell you, I have a wonderful, sweet little 5th grade science teacher, Miss Bethany, and she loves, I got it. Me talking, sorry. But she is energetic, and she has got a 4-H club going at the middle school, and it's got different ages of children. And I'm telling you what, they are doing some really cool things with science. And she's also gotten involved with the South Carolina Agricultural Group. She's got a bus that's going to be coming. So I'm so excited because I was a science girl at elementary, so I'm excited to see science coming back to the middle school. I know we've got to keep that emphasis on reading and math, but we got to get that science in there too. So, do you have any questions for me? I got talking. I know. Time to eat my time limit.
Good evening, how's everyone?
Good.
All right, so my overall average is a 54. From the previous year, we were 55. The biggest drop came from our grad rate. This year, we were at 78%, and before we were at 85%. And so my first year coming in, we knew that was going to be a struggle. getting that grad rate up. So, and I think if we could have kept the grad rate consistent, we've probably been good versus average. Academic achievement is where we got to do our work in preparing for success. That's where we are for his grad rate. We're average. College career readiness is good. High school student success is good. The school climate is excellent. Academic achievement focuses on our math EOC and our English 2 EOC. They were close to state average, but a little under with math and ELA. In preparing for success, that's probably where our biology 1 and our U.S. history, we're not very good at all. We're like 2.52 out of 10. So we got a lot of work to do there in preparing for success. So one of the things that we've done is, I went to attend some professional development, I think last week with biology. We've lost a teacher, so there's some inconsistency there. So we're working on that. But progress learning has been really helpful. So in all these courses, what we've done is we progress monitor our students about every 2 or 3 weeks. The standards has already been taught using progress learning to utilize our kids. We'll pull them to an advisor for the ones that are struggling to try to catch them up, because that's the only way to really do it. Is pull them through advisory. That way you still won't miss any time of instruction. And that's what we're doing with that, just to try to get them caught up with that. But we do have these EOC workbooks that has been very helpful. They're really good, and so we do and progress learning. So those are really the 2 things that we really need besides teaching and helping our kids pull them to advisors to help them catch up standards they're not matching at the moment. Grad rate, we should be in pretty good shape. We should be anywhere from 85% to 90% grad rate this upcoming school year. If we can hold on and keep our kids, I think we're going to be fine. It should be anywhere from 85 to 90% with our grad rate. So that should go from average to good or possibly excellent if we can hold it. And what we do is we just do individual meetings with our seniors, make sure that the transcript is evaluated correctly, talk with the parents, especially those who were behind. So we did a really good job last year of getting all our kids that were behind caught up. And so this year, it's not as bad as it was last year. So it's a lot easier. We just got to make sure that we keep them passing, and we'll be all right there. College career readiness, we were right at state average here, but I think we'll be even better, anywhere from about 85, 90% this upcoming school year. And we can maintain, because what we do is, either be going to be CTE, so if you didn't do it with WIN or ACT or ASVAB, any of those tests you didn't make high enough to get college career ready, then what we do is we put you in one of our CET courses to be a completer. And so one or the other, none of my kids, they get it. So we should be anywhere from good to excellent next school year, just utilizing those things. But our kids are not doing very good for its test prep with ACT, SAT. So that's something we got to get better at. Even though we're focused on being college career ready, but we got to do better with the test prep for our students. High school student success, it's really based around 9th grade students, them going to 10th grade, but about majority of them went to 10th grade, just about all of them, except we get penalized for our kids that are not diploma track. So if our kids are credential track, we get penalized for that, and they can't help that. That's just what it is. But for the most part, all our kids went to the next grade. So should be good, excellent again. We can maintain it. So there'll be sophomores and freshmen for the next report card. And so right now our kids are doing fairly well. So we got to keep it that way. And we do call them in. We monitor them every 9 weeks just to make sure that they're on track. And if not, we'll have meetings with them and everything of that nature. School climate, we're excellent, so we want to try to maintain that way. Have an open door policy. I have a principal advisory group, so they like to have they're doing what they're supposed to do with them, a little pep rally where they can dance and party, whatever. We do provide incentives for our kids, we do take them on trips, things of that nature, but we're always trying to find a way to make them feel safe, supported, and let them have a voice, as well as our teachers. So that's been going very well for us. Any questions for me?
Does the high school students have a study period?
We used to have study hall, and what we've done is we built advisory in case they need help and support. You can do it during advisory. And what we did was when they did study hall, they weren't getting the credit. And so I took that away because I want you're gonna be in somebody's class, getting a credit. And so that's what we did. And we built an advisory which is 30 minutes a day, where you need help, you can come and get help. You can go to any teacher you would like. That way, we don't waste a credit. Any other questions? Thank y'all.
I don't have a time limit from the calendar. Okay, October is very busy for finance. We've got several things going on. We've got open enrollment, so that's when all the employees come in and meet with us and make changes to all their health insurance and different things that they have to sign up for. We've also conducted a couple of internal audits just to look at how we're doing things, to see if we can more streamline that practice to get it a little more efficient. The 23-24 general fund audit is winding down, and I am here to tell you, it has been a whirlwind, because with all of these extra grants and all of these extra, projects that we have, it's just been a lot to pull, and she is very, very good at her job. So that's, y'all should know that you've got a quality, audit when she comes in here. Ms. Jackson will be here at our next board meeting to give you the audit results. And in the for action agenda, the COPS grant it's a 75-25% match. And in order to have our financials in a way in which it falls within the grant guidelines, we have to go ahead and set aside that 25% match. Although we have been assured by them that it's okay for us to use some of the bond money to meet that match requirement, so that as soon as the COPS grant is finished, which should be in the next few months, I'll be coming back to you to unencumber that money. But just for the audit for 23-24, we have to show that we have that money and that we have it set aside for that purpose. So it's just a formality of what we need to do. I'm very pleased with how the audit's turning out. It's probably one of the best years that I can remember since I've been here. We've earmarked a lot of funds that's gonna put things for the future that we know we need to anticipate, since we've had such a good year. So, it's a very good audit this year. Okay, I wanted to bring you up to speed a little bit on the bond money and where the expenses is going. Where's what we've done, what we've finished, and kind of where we stand. Project 1 was just the cost of issuing the bond. That's conducting the election. Hainsworth, Sinclair Boyd, this is Moody had to come in and do an analysis of us. Actually, almost wrote a book. So all of the things to do that was $128,000. Project 2, and the issuance is finished. We won't have any more expense in that. Project 2 is the high school HVAC project. We've spent thus far $534,000. We're probably a third of the way through with that project, so that expense is going to go up. Now, Project 3 is with the Snyder Phase 1, and Mr. Kennedy will talk to you a little bit, but the lights are finished, the building envelope and the windows are finished, or they're in the process of being finished. And that's, to date, we spent $1.6 million toward that project. The buildings, this is the cost for the storage building that was placed at the middle school. It's like a little over $14,000. Safety and security, these are the things, man traps, and some of the weapons detectors. Some of that kind of bleeds over into the COPS grant because the two kind of go hand in hand. So we've done $281,000 worth of safety security, the phone systems, the PA systems, all of those things have been upgraded. A lot of renovating has been done in Project 6. We have to keep up with everything that's painting, fencing, concrete. We spent $135,000 towards that project. The land purchase, the only thing we've had to do thus far is to pay for a couple of little tests to be run, some for them to look at the make sure everything is on track, that it's okay for us to purchase it. SME came in and did some drawing of the lines that we had to have redone in order to purchase the property, the two properties across the street, the track. To date, we've only spent $4,200 on the track project. Mr. Kennedy is going to cover that a little more, but we've had some interesting emails concerning that. The elementary school playground, we are completely finished with that. That was project 9, $44,000, and so to date of $7.5 million in the bond, we spent 2.79. Does anybody have any questions for me? Okay, Mr. Kennedy.
All right, good evening, everybody. I'll start with the security update. So, if you guys have been in a football game lately, you may have noticed there's a lot more cameras and whatnot down there. We do have new security cameras at the football, softball, and baseball athletic complexes. The new gate is installed for controlled access to the JES bus loading area, and that's the picture of part of that there. You can see the aluminum fencing there behind that. I am glad to say that all of our classroom locks are online and working properly. That was a little bit of I wouldn't want to say a bumpy road, but there was a lot of, well, I used to have access to this, why don't I have access to it now kind of things. We found a lot of people that maybe had access to areas that they shouldn't have. But all that's been cleared up. Those are working well. And we have new doors ordered for the JHS office area. They requested office doors that had windows in them, just kind of as a safety thing, so they could see what's going on outside of their office. Those have been ordered as well.
Yes, I did actually have one of the teachers call me and tell me that they could not go in anybody's classroom. They could only go in their classroom, and it was a little bit of a headache for them.
So here's how we've handled that.
They said because Mr. Kennedy said we had to do it this way.
That's partially true.
Yeah.
Any staff, and I think the principals can back me up on this, any staff member that truly needs access to another room, all they have to do is tell me, hey, give Mr. Kennedy access to this room, and we do it. But no, we're not giving every teacher access to every other teacher's classroom. That's just not, that's not the way it's designed. Any other questions, comments about security? Technology update. Last week we got our annual technology security report that we have completed every year by ANC Group. This was a very interesting number. In 30 days, we had 283 million security events logged on our firewall. What that means is that is 283 million times that something tried to enter our network, whether it was allowed or not. But 283 million in 30 days, that's a lot. You wouldn't think that little old Johnsonville would have that many events. Out of those events, 69 of those were major security alerts that were identified, and 26 of those actually got elevated to the Security Operations Center that monitors some of our stuff. Gladly, all those were resolved without issue. There was nothing major. We were not hacked or anything like that. But it is good to kind of see that the money that we're spending on our security is actually doing something. A lot of times when you say, hey, you need this security product, if you don't have a problem, you kind of wonder, is it worth it, right? You're like, why am I spending this money? This definitely shows us that what we're paying for is a good thing. They also found that our district data backups were found to be adequate and meet all the standards of our cybersecurity insurance. All of our servers and end-user workstations were found to be properly patched and in safe condition. We got the best report from them that we've gotten in my 8 years here. So we're doing something right, and Paul is really leading the charge on that. He's doing a great job. But any questions with technology? All right. Child Nutrition Services update. Last week we also, the Department of Agriculture, formerly DHEC, came and did their inspections last week. We did really well. JES got 99%. There was one discrepancy due to ice buildup in the freezer, and we've already begun addressing that. JMS and JHS 100%. So that goes to Mr. Miller and all of his cafeteria staff. They've done an excellent job, and their hard work and dedication definitely shows with those scores. It's kind of the same kind of scoring that you see at any retail establishment, you know, the A, the B, the C, the whatever. We all got A's. So, any questions on that? All right, facilities update. So the new window installation is complete at JHS. If you ride by there, take a look at them. They came out nice. It's kind of funny, but it's good. You can actually see through our windows now. The old ones have gotten so cloudy and damaged that you couldn't see through those, but they came out really nice. We are ordering blinds, new blinds for those windows. All the old blinds had to be gotten rid of, so it kind of looks a little strange right now, but the windows did come out nice. Building envelope work is complete at JMS and JHS. The old lights were removed at the softball field last week, so they're still on track. End of next month, all the lighting will be done at softball and baseball. They got slowed down a little bit due to the storm, but they said it's not enough. They're still going to hit their deadline, so all those will be complete. The district will complete purchase process for the old library building tomorrow, and the 2 lots will be done by the end of November. We're waiting on title searches to come back on the 2 lots. Drainage ditches have been cleaned out by Florence County to help alleviate drainage issues at the track. That's a picture of one of those ditches. That ditch was really grown up. You can already tell a good difference over at the track, so that is a plus there. Speaking of the track, we did run into a few unknown issues when they were out here beginning that process. The water table's higher than anticipated. That's part of the reason that we got the county to come do the ditches and all that. Terracon came by last week and they kind of stopped by. They're looking at other options for us, basically. What would it look like if we moved the track? But they also came by over here and kind of did a quick glance at the track again. It's been about 2.5 weeks since they last checked it, and they said the water table has gone down significantly. So I have a meeting with them Thursday to kind of them and Terracon and a couple of the engineers and whatnot to kind of see where we are now, what our path looks like moving forward. I don't have anything definite. That's why I haven't really included anything in my slides on that. But we'll definitely have a little firmer idea of what direction we're going by the next facilities update meeting, and I'll have a better brief for you at the next board meeting.
Why is the lights flickering over there at the track field?
Those are photo sensor lights, and there may be an issue with the light. I don't know. I didn't know that they were flickering.
They've been flickering
I
for
think-
what, weeks?
Yeah.
We just noted it last week at the game,
Okay.
and Boo was gonna get Jonathan with Duke to look at those
Okay,
2
yeah, I
lights.
had no idea they were flickering.
Yeah, Jonathan's.
It's flickering right
different-
now.
Different
When
light.
I pulled up, you
flickering.
can look at
Yeah,
it.
there's
Okay.
2 flickering now. There was just one. Now that after the game Friday night, we noticed there was another one now.
Strobe light.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, we're just getting ready for the light show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get that squared away. Any questions, comments, concerns?
So Adam, the water table is too high and it would not create a suitable substrate for the track
Yes.
to be put back down.
On this end of the track over here,
Yeah.
they hit water at 6 inches. On the far end over towards the paper tube, it was like 20 to 24 inches. But with that being said, that was right after the hurricane. Those ditches were not draining properly, so the county got that one cleaned out. They cleaned everything out, and the picture doesn't show it. There's another drainage ditch that goes between us and the property over here. They cleaned that as well. I've got a request in for DOT to clean the ditch on the other side of the road all the way down, because that's all, I mean, that's where this water goes. There's some tile damage under there as well. So do I think that's gonna completely fix our problem? No. Do I think it's greatly gonna help our problem? Yeah. I mean, the water's already getting out of there now. That was really, really dry. I don't know if y'all ever paid attention driving by, but it was growing up pretty bad. The county cleaned it up for us about 3 years ago the last time. So a lot can happen, and a lot of that growth in 3 years stopped that water. So I think that really had more to do with it. If the equipment they were using that day hadn't bogged down, I don't know that it ever would have been an issue. but they bogged a piece of equipment over there that doesn't normally get bogged down, and that's kind of what brought it to light. Anything else?
Okay. Well, as you can see, we're moving ahead with the projects. There's something all the time for Wanda. She's done a fabulous job though, trying to keep up with it, spending money left and right and people coming in and out. The team has done an amazing job keeping up with all these projects. Report cards, very proud of the hard work that was put in. We're moving in the right direction. We're not where we want to be everywhere, but we see it doing this. And as long as we continue to move up, we're good to go. Not a whole lot of districts can say that none of the schools in their district were unsatisfactory or below average. There's not many districts in the state that can say that. So we are very pleased. But as in the words of Brian Goins, we're not taking our foot off the gas. We're going to keep doing what we're doing. We appreciate your support, but I can tell you these people sitting right here work extremely hard and they take their jobs very seriously, and we're so blessed to have all of them. Some good stuff I wanted to share with you. We had one of these last year, but we had another one this year. Ansley Wise, she's a senior at Johnsonville High School. She's been recognized as one of Post and Courier PD's academic achievers for the month of September. So we're very proud of Ansley. She will also be recognized November 12th. If any of you are available at City Council, at their meeting, they're going to recognize Ansley Wise for this article. They're going to recognize our student with the perfect score that we recognized last month, and they also would like to recognize Johnsonville Middle School for getting that excellent rating. Dr. Calicut wants to do more of recognizing our children in our schools so that we can work together. So we've met with them a couple of times, and there's things we're going to do together, city and school, and I think it's going to be great for our community. Pull all that together. But November 12th, mark your calendars. Miranda, he just told me tonight, so we'll get together on that. And then upcoming events.
Sorry, trying helping you.
We're working against each other, Paul. Friday, we have a JHS varsity football game at Latta. Parent-teacher conferences on the 4th. Also on the 4th, a JMSB team football game. We have no school on election day. The Veterans Day program at JES is that morning, and then I think right after that, is this correct, Randy? The JMS will do a Veterans Day drive-through?
Yes, ma'am.
So they don't hurt each other. Then we start our academic challenge meets. Those are coming up, and you'll see those every Tuesday and Wednesday for a little while. Then we'll have our next board meeting, and after that, our pageant. And if cross country makes it, their state championship meet will be November 22nd. And then we're out for Thanksgiving. So this year is flying by. But that is all I have. I'll turn it back over to you.
Well, so we'll move straight into our for action agenda, and number 8 is the first reading of the revision of policy JICJ, possession, use of electronic communication devices.
Okay, we're not really changing our policy here. You know, we just did this policy not too long ago to make it where kids couldn't use cell phones during the school day. But after the proviso passed, proviso 1.103, when that proviso passed, they put a lot of definitions in that model policy to define what access meant, to define what an electronic device includes the smartwatches. It defines even the school day. So what we need to do is just go into our policy and add those definitions. So it basically says the same thing. It's just this is a more clear policy. Okay.
All right, any questions? I'll entertain a motion to accept that first reading of policy JICJ.
I'll make a motion to accept the first reading of policy JICJ.
Second.
We have a motion to properly second. Question? All in favor, aye? Opposed, have the same right? Okay, seeing none, that's passed, and we'll move to the authorization to set aside the match for COPS grant that Ms. Wanda was just telling us about.
Make a motion that we set aside the 25% match for the COPS grant.
I second.
We have a first, we have a, motion that's properly second. Any questions? All in favor? Opposed, have the same right? Thank you. We'll move right to our overnight field trip.
I make a motion to accept the overnight field trip request.
A second.
We have a motion that's properly second. Any questions? All in favor, aye? Opposed, have the same right? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. If that is it, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion for adjournment.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you so much.